also the creative director in charge of the RealFood Network. And the RealFood Network is a community-supported agricultural network that is run and operated by volunteers, community collaboration between businesses, schools, enterprises, hubs like this, community groups that all value the access to locally grown, organic, into transition, but also produce that isn't organic as yet, to have access to the food that's grown here locally by our local farmers and the farming families and the backyard growers. The majority of all the food down in Cairns, which we could roughly say is about 95%, has a food mileage on it for at least 1,500 kilometers, if not more. If we find in the alternate supermarkets, I won't use their beautiful names, product that is from here, very often it is actually still went all the way back down to the distribution center in Brisbane and came all the way back up. We're not so much about trying to cut back on food mileage, although that is one of the outcomes of what we do. RealFood Network is really about creating resilient communities. And in that sense, we call that collaborative, resilient communities. When we all collaborate and do something in the process to actually access local produce, which is fresher, more nutrient dense, healthier. It's called bioregionalism, and maybe Clayton on the way through to the next stop could highlight on the benefits of eating bioregionally. I'll just continue on what RealFood does in that sense. We have several little community markets. This is a transition community hub that has adopted, very gladly so, RealFood as one wing of transition. We are in a paradigm that goes into a certain direction, and we all know that it's an unsustainable one. Whether we, truly believe it or whether we haven't thought about it, the way that we're going with moving stuff around the planet and being fully reliant on a system that is steered towards infinite growth. There's always more profit needed, and it just needs to grow. We recognize that that pattern is something that's unsustainable in the long run, and we need to think about the generations after. And so we are collaborating as a hub called Recharge Kuranda with RealFood Network, which is a restorative business practice, to activate that wing of transition. And transition has a lot of different sub headings as part of its overall bundle. One of the things that we really enjoy is that we're able to localize the food economy through RealFood, which then of course allows us to exercise one of the elements within transition. We have a community hub here, which we are going to transform into a community-based supermarket, by lack of a better word. But down in Cairns, we also have a community-based supermarket. And one of the aspects of what RealFood is it's not a business. A lot of people think that we're a business. We are a social enterprise run and operated by volunteers. And one of the things that we're doing now in Cairns, we're currently training 17 socially impaired and disabled members of our community to learn through an environment, selling fruit and veg, weighing, calculating money, handling the till, dealing with customers. We're training them to find reintroduction and re-entry into the general work stream, which is a very valuable aspect of our social enterprise. We're not about making money, we're not about making business, we are about creating social capital. And social capital is a relatively new term that basically describes that what is more important for our region if we want to localize our food economy is the relationships that we have to one another than how much money we can put in each other's hands. Because money doesn't buy relationships, but doing the right thing, day by day, week by week, relying on volunteers, introducing to new farmers where we're coming from, what our integrity is, and what our objectives are, we are creating in our region social capital, which then creates a resilient community. Because a resilient, broader community only comes about once we're connected. There is no resilience within a community if we only had money, because we could buy generators and we could buy things that we would need in dire times, but a community coming together and helping each other out just based on the human values, that's what we are aspiring to assist. We're not saying that we're doing that. We're not aspiring to be a big model for change. What we are actually doing is just what we feel is the right thing to do. And for everybody, we are becoming more and more available. Local food is on the rise. And now that we've got a shop down in Cairns, in the Main Street Arcade at City Place, we are really able to reach a broader audience. Because one of the things that we started out with is the $40 food box. Can I give that to you? And then you can just pass it around and feel the weight in it. If you have a sore back, don't lift the box. That box is top loaded with our weekly regional harvest. We go out and collect from our local farmers every Wednesday and Thursday to bring to our distribution center down in Cairns, which is not the shop. We bring all of our food sourced from the farmers to the Redland State College down in Cairns. RealFood Network did 3 years ago a piloting survey with the school community to see if the community within the school, the parents from the children, would be interested to start off a food boxing system that would give them access to the freshest local produce that was weekly harvested. That has been ongoing for 3 years, and RealFood Network, as another wing of what it does in the form of a social enterprise, is able to create an awareness within a very rigid educational paradigm, which is really about ticking the boxes and getting all the kids trained up quick enough so that they reach the benchmarks. We are able to help fund and inspire teachers to continue the school garden at the school, but also continue the dialogue about including environmental and agricultural studies into their main curriculum. And we're at a very pivotal point where RealFood Network now finally, after 3 years of work, is able to create a significant impact, because Redland State College is signing itself up to become an independent school. And an independent school can do what it wants to do in relationship to its curriculum. And RealFood Network for 3 years has, as part of our formula, the $40 box, 10% goes to the school. We don't just want to collaborate and want the community engaged. We know that financial contribution towards the growth and expansion of a school is very important, especially if your objectives are to get children engaged in agriculture, in growing food, in knowing plants, especially knowing that milk doesn't come from the fridge. 10% of every food box that has been sold over the last 3 years has been going to the school, to a separate fund that is set up to charge the environmental and agricultural studies for the primary school side of the Redland State College. We're very inspired about that. We're finally getting to that point where so many of these ideas are finally getting the traction that we've hoped for and dreamed for. And we've done it in a way that didn't involve paying anybody. It didn't involve, well, we paid, of course, the farmers. And that's a very important aspect of what we do. Instead of arguing or discussing with farmers what we should pay for the product and what the market depicts, we go to the farmers and we say, what do you want for your product? And if they want $1 a cucumber, then we'll pay them $1 a cucumber. If that means that the RealFood Network can only sell the cucumber at $1.20 because the rest of the market is pretty saturated on cucumbers, then that's what we do. In that way, our progression financially as an enterprise is not fast. But meanwhile, we have been able to develop these things on an integral level so that the foundation upon which we're growing this new template is actually really grounded and connected. Every week we have about 40 to 50 volunteers involved in what we're doing. Those are moms at the school that come and pick the boxes up to drop them off to people's houses, to where other people then come to pick their individual box up. We've got volunteers helping out in the shop, and if you're interested down in Cairns to have a look and see if you could help out, if there's anything that you could do to help build a more resilient local food economy. First of all, talk to your friends about the inspiration and the thoughts that you're picking up on a day like this. But yeah, pop into the market space there. We are at Rusty's till the end of September, and we are there on a Friday. That has been our biggest way to engage with the community, but it's been really hard as an alternative fruit and veggie retail establishment to actually stay within Rusty's. It's a very dynamic environment, and gaining more and more momentum and appreciation and success within the community. Our time is running out at Rusty's, which is currently allowing us to move the majority of the product, which is one of the main objectives in relationship to the farmers. Move as much product as we can for them, so they can build the confidence and keep growing the produce that we can then bring into the community. So after September, we are going to go through a bit of a roller coaster ride, but we hope that people like you will get on board and get other people on board to get connected to the supermarket down in Cairns. Or even better, you felt the weight of the food box to say, well, you know what, community supported agriculture as a model, paying in advance to the farmers the food that we are to consume. A $40 food box is great value on a weekly or fortnightly basis. And you could subscribe to that online at our website. We're looking better and better, slowly but surely. We are only promoted in, and we chose to be mentioned in one little magazine called the Connect magazine, which is a magazine that's aimed to connect people. So that suits our many objectives very nicely. Our website is realfoodnetwork.com.au, but if you go onto Google and just Google Real Food Cairns or Real Food Network or local food, Far North Queensland, lo and behold, we're there. I'm ready for any questions. Would anybody like to hear where stuff comes from, what it is, and who grew it? Because I could quickly take you through a little list.